And we'll see if it does it. So it's putting the blinker on. And it's doing the lane merge sort of at the last minute. So that was a bit not very good. Hello and welcome to my channel called Swiss Tesla Fan. Today I want to talk a little bit about navigation on Autopilot. Well, navigate on Autopilot as Tesla calls it. So it's a feature that's currently in beta, but I've had it since I purchased the car. And there are some bugs with it that are, let's say, not really evolving. And depending on the version, it seems to even get worse. So rather than talk about them, I'm going to show you what actually happens while I'm driving. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so we're calculating the route and we'll have the navigation on Autopilot turn on. As you can see here, it's always active by default now in the car as I put that setting on. Okay, so let's get going. So of course, as I'm driving on small roads, navigate on Autopilot is not going to do anything. It'll only kick into gear once I actually get on the motorway or the highway. So we'll get back to you once I'm there. Okay, so we're getting on the highway. And currently I'm not on navigate on Autopilot yet. And if there's traffic, I'm not sure if I can activate it now. Could try and see what happens. So here I'm going to try a lane merge. So this is something I haven't done before. And we'll see if it does it. So it's putting the blinker on. And it's doing the lane merge sort of at the last minute. So that was a bit not very good. Basically the car jerked to the left and then to the right. Probably giving people the impression that I was doing something I shouldn't be doing. So this is what I'm talking about. Immediately here, you see, it gives me a lane change, but to could follow the route. And actually that makes no sense whatsoever, because to follow the route, I can just drive straight. Here, I mean, of course, it makes sense from a speed point of view, because the cars on the left lane are going much faster. But from a route point of view, it makes absolutely no sense. I could have stayed on that lane and be fine. So this is what I mean by these bugs, where basically it always wants you to go to the left lane for some reason I don't understand, when it would be much safer and make more sense to stay on the right lane. And you'll see this at different occasions, and we'll review them all together. Another thing you might have noticed at the lane merge is that it merged really late on the lane. I mean, I was almost out of room, so I don't know what would have happened if a car was in my way. Here I let it do it because there was actually nobody in the way, and I could do it safely because there was no cars coming. But of course, in higher traffic, I'm not sure it would behave properly. So here, even if you try to use it, you should always stay on top of it. To make sure that you're not going to do something dangerous. So now I'm again in stop and go traffic, or almost stop on the highway here. In these cases, navigate on Autopilot works mostly well. Again, always the issue is that as we're slowing down, it would be really great if the car could put itself on the side of the lane, because in Switzerland, when you're stopped on the highway, you're supposed to open up a way in the middle to be able to let emergency vehicles pass. But motorcycles also like to use that to go through traffic, which they're allowed to do when traffic is stopped. They're not allowed to do it when traffic is actually going. So in a few miles or kilometers, sorry, we'll be coming to a junction, and you'll see what Navigate on Autopilot does there, and we'll review that together. Here you can see the car is suggesting that I change to a faster lane. So this is also a feature of the full self-driving package that's not in the regular package. So I didn't do it right away, but I'll do it now. So here again, I'm not doing anything. The car is doing all the lane change itself. The only thing I do have to do is keep my hands on the wheel at all times. Not only because of security, but also because the system actually requires it. It will shut down if you don't, which is a good thing. So we'll be coming to the exchange in a moment, and yeah, there's still some traffic. I'm going to change lanes again. So here the car requires a lot of space in front and behind in order for the lane change to work well. But if you do respect those conditions, restrictions, I mean, you will do quite successful lane changes. The biggest issue is always the same one, even with version 10 it hasn't changed. If you're doing a lane change and the car behind you is doing the lane change at the same time and starts accelerating, then there's a good chance that your lane change will be cancelled. Which is a bit of a nuisance. Nobody drives like that. But again, they're focused on being absolutely secure, so you can understand why it does that. Okay, so here it's telling us to change lanes into faster lane, which I'm not going to do. So here you see I have 2 ways to go. And I can either go on the left to go to Geneva Center, or I can stay on the right side to go around Geneva, which is what I need to do. So right now, the car is not suggesting any lane changes, so we'll see what it does. So now it's suggesting a lane change for faster lane again. I don't want to do that because here it's easier if you stay on the right lane to do this junction. So it's kind of weird that it's suggesting to pass, but I mean there are 2 lanes here that go to the right, so that's possible. All right. Okay, so here you see it's telling me to go to the left lane, and I don't understand why. Yeah, you see here it tells you to go to the left lane to change routes, to follow the route. But why? Why would I do that? I mean, there's absolutely no sense in this, and this is one of the bugs. And there's an even worse one coming up now. Watch closely what happens with the blinker as I come up here to, so we're going to slow down here, which is good, that way you'll have plenty of time to see it. So here there's construction, so maybe the road work is interfering with the system, I don't know, but we'll see. But you'll see that the car does something really strange here. So there's a lane merging here to let cars in, and so you would expect, I hope we can get in. All right. Okay, you see that? It's flicking the blinker to the right. Why on earth is it doing that? That makes absolutely no sense. And actually here I had to take over because the car was sort of going to the right. And so this is a bug. And here it's still telling me to go to the left to follow the route. So I'm not going to do that. I'm perfectly fine on the right side. So this is what one of the biggest bugs, I think, in the system. Is that on lane merges, it suddenly puts the blinker to the right. And usually when it does that by itself, that means it's actually going to do the operation by itself, as if it was an exit or something like that. So that is very dangerous. And it's been doing this for quite a few versions. And so I'm hoping maybe somebody at Tesla will look at this video and see, okay, something weird is going on, and they will hopefully correct it, because I don't even understand why it does that. So I'm going to stay here in this lane. Okay, so here it still says 100, and here the map also says 100. But this area of the highway was under construction for quite a long time, and so for a few years the limit was at 80, and about a year ago they changed it to 100, which was the original. So here you can see it says 100. They can change it to lower if they need to, but right now it's 100. And very soon you'll hear the chimes of the car complaining that we're speeding. Okay, see here the map data shows 80, and now I have the chimes that are telling me I'm driving too fast. But I'm not, because actually the limit is still 100. And as I go in this tunnel, maybe you'll see on the top there's still a sign that says 100. So if you've been watching my videos from the start, you'll note that this is a problem that's existed ever since I got the car, and it's still there. It's nothing major, I would say. Just a nuisance to get those chimes when you're actually not speeding. But this is also something I wish they would correct. But in terms of priority, I would much prefer that they correct the blinker bug, because that one also impacts people that are driving around the car, because they think, what on earth is this guy doing? And the other thing is that canceling the blinker can also be tricky, because you're never actually sure how to cancel that. The way I do it is I just put the blinker in the opposite direction, but I need to do it very shortly, otherwise it will put the blinker to the left. And so there's no clear way to cancel one of those blinkers, I think. So that's another problem, because otherwise people will just be thinking, okay, he's putting his blinkers both sides, where is he going? And so it doesn't give a very good impression of autonomous cars. Okay, so this is a first. We're coming into fog. I haven't had this before, so I don't know if the car can detect it in some way. So here it's suggesting that I change lanes for a faster lane, which I could do, but I won't, because I want to show you something else. So we're going to stay here on this right line, and here there is no junction intersection whatsoever on the highway here. And here it says upcoming lane change, and you'll see here on the signs and everything, it's just a regular exit for the highway. So there is no actual intersection, or you don't need to go anywhere. And here again, it wants me to go to the left to follow the route, but I don't want to do that because I'm perfectly fine where I am. Okay, I'm driving a little bit slow, but this is mostly because I don't need to go faster at this point. But basically, yeah, here again, a lane change that makes absolutely no sense. You're perfectly fine on the right side, and it will go away after a while once we're past this exit. But again, I'm not sure if it's the map data that's faulty or the system itself, but it's pretty annoying. And here we go again. Again, limit is 100, and I've set it to 100 in the cruise control, but it's complaining that I'm speeding. So that's it for this route part, and soon we'll have a part where it actually does behave. So I'm going to stay here still on the right, and I hope that we can demonstrate this properly. Okay, so here you might have noticed that the car is more to the right, and that's because we're going to do a lane change, and let's hope it does it quickly here. Okay, we're going to force it to do it. Okay, and it's cancelled because this is exactly what I was telling you about. The car behind me has done the lane change at the same time that I did, and now I'm stuck with this problem. Okay. So basically what happened is that as I was doing the lane change, the car behind me did the lane change at the same time. And basically then it canceled the lane change, had to take over. I did take over, and then I don't exactly know what happened with the blinker, but I had to cancel it again. So basically the blinkers have changed a lot, left and right. Okay, so this is new. This wasn't here before. And there's fog, it seems, also. Oh no, it's just... I don't know what this truck is doing in front of us. It's blowing smoke of some kind. There is some fog also. So interesting conditions. I haven't had fog yet with the car. But there's... yeah, I don't know what's going on. Okay, now we're on our way back. So we're gonna use Navigate on Autopilot again. But it's not active right now because I need to get out of this parking lot. So we're gonna wait here for a second until all the traffic is passed, and we'll be on our way. Okay, so this is the entrance of the motorway. So we're gonna get in this lane, and as soon as we'll be in here, we can turn on Autopilot. So here you'll see again there's a mistake. It says normally 80, but it still says 70 here. So I'm going to activate it at 70 for the moment. And now here, this is correct. It tells me to change lanes to follow the route. This is correct because I need to be in the left lane because they are merging. But look at what happens sometimes. Sometimes it tells me to go back into the other lane. We'll see. Yeah, see here? It says confirm lane change out of passing lane. So just after it told me to change lanes to follow the route, it's then changing its mind and telling me to go the other way. And this lane just merges here. So as you can see, it made no sense to go back into that lane. So now I could change lanes here because we're going to go into this tunnel. And let's change lanes inside the tunnel so you can see that it also works fine, even if I don't have Navigate on Autopilot in the tunnel. In the tunnels, I've had some, sometimes some shadow braking, phantom braking, I mean, so you need to be careful in the tunnels. Sometimes it will do that. And here also, this area here is an area where I've had a lot of occurrences of phantom braking, so I always have to be careful for that. And of course, as you see here, Navigate on Autopilot is turning on and off every time we go into a tunnel, and it resumes after the tunnel. For some tunnels it doesn't do it, but I don't understand exactly why or how. It seems that it's mostly a map classification issue, depending on what kind of tunnel it is. So here I'm on the right lane, but you can see here I'm gonna, at this exchange here, I'm gonna have to take a left. So it tells me here upcoming lane change, so I'm gonna do it right now because it seems I have room. And this way I'm in the proper lane to change. So now the big question is it going to tell me to go back into the right lane? Because, well, actually Navigate on Autopilot is turned off, so it won't do that. But otherwise it might have told me to go back into the right lane because I'm in the passing lane. So we'll see. So this is correct so far. But upcoming there'll be one of the big bugs again. You'll see there'll be a lane on the right. So there's basically two highways that are merging into a third one. And you'll see that it will try to get me into the right lane that's merging. So that's definitely a big bug that you don't want to, I mean, you don't want it to do that. So watch the blinker as soon as we, okay, so here the car is shifting to the right, I'm not sure why. Like little jerky movements. Okay, now make sure you watch what happens with the blinker as I get out of this curve here. I'm not going to leave it on for long because I don't want to confuse people too much. But you're going to see here the left, the blinker is going to go to the right. Yeah, you see here? And I'm not even supposed to do that because I'm not allowed to cross that lane. So this is a big issue with Autopilot. And here I'm going to get stuck. So I'm going to do it manually because the car was just passing me. So there's no way I could use the lane change here. Okay, and now again it tells me to go into the left lane to follow the route. which I don't need to do because I can stay in the right lane here. I don't need to go into the passing lane to follow the route at all. So again, why is it doing that? I really don't know. So it's either an issue with the software or an issue with the maps. It's not clear. But something, this is definitely something that Tesla needs to fix, because for me, with these kind of mistakes, this feature is not really, let's say, feature complete. So here again, the limit is 100, but the maps are wrong. So I can actually go back to 100, even though it's going to complain with the chime. It seems the car in front of me doesn't know that it's 100. But if you were looking at the signs, you could see it was. Here we come up with another speed sign that still says 100. So you can see that it is allowed to drive faster. So that's what we're going to do as soon as the cars behind us finish passing us. Okay, here we go. So I'm doing an automated lane change here. The chime is just the speed limit chime, because it thinks we're not allowed to go over 80. This, by the way, by default is deactivated, this chime, but I actually really like it because this way I don't have to keep my eyes on the screen all the time. I can just focus on my driving, and I'll get a chime whenever I'm over the speed limit, except of course here where it doesn't know what the speed limit really is. But for that I actually have cruise control, so I can just rely on that. Okay, so for this part I think there's not going to be any more events of navigate on autopilot mistakes, so I'll see you later when there are. Okay, I'm currently in construction, so road work. So I had to turn off navigate on autopilot, but there'll be a place where we'll be able to turn it back on in a few seconds, and then we'll again see if the navigate on autopilot performs as expected, or again if it recommends something that's not correct. And so it should be coming up pretty soon here. The road work is about to finish. Oh, another Tesla Model S passing us. It's clearly not using the cruise control. Okay, we're going to be able to turn it back on now. One thing you might see is that it's asking for me to apply some pressure. I'm constantly holding the wheel, but what it actually requires is that you move, like you wiggle the steering wheel a little bit. That's the way it tracks that you're there. It can't just detect your hand on the wheel, which I think is a shame, because when you're going in a straight line, it's a little bit of a nuisance to have to do that. Okay, so here we've finished merging almost with another highway. And for the moment, it's not recommending any lane changes. So again, here it's the left lane. Okay, here we go. So here you see it's telling me to go to the left lane to follow the route. But I actually don't want to do that because there's no point. These are passing lanes, and I'm perfectly fine. And it's actually better to stay in this right lane here. And it's hugging the left side here a little bit too much to my taste, which I don't like, which is probably because it's trying to change lanes. If I abort it, yeah, so that's the thing. It's going to the left because it thinks I'm going to change lanes, but I don't want to do that. So this is a nuisance because basically the car, this is new, it didn't used to do this before. But basically the car is going to hug the left part of the lane if it wants to pass in preparation for it. But in this case it makes no sense. As you can see, it's a straight line here and made no sense to have to go to the left lane for no reason whatsoever. So again, this is an error for me. Makes navigate on autopilot pretty much useless because it's not doing the right thing. And now I can go up to 120. As soon as the cars in front of me go faster. And so yeah, for me it kind of breaks the whole usefulness of navigate on autopilot, which is supposed to suggest lane changes, for example, if you don't know where you're going to. So here I know the road backwards, so I know exactly what I should be doing. But if I was in a place where I didn't know for sure it would be suggesting lane changes that might not make any sense, and of course that would be a problem. So here it's suggesting a lane change because of the speed, so that's a completely different story, and I actually agree with it because I could drive much faster and still stay in the speed limit, but right now there's too much traffic for me to be able to pass, so I have to wait a little bit. But yeah, so to sum up, basically navigate on autopilot, at least in this area. As I said, I'm not sure if it's a map issue or if it's an algorithmic issue of the software, but this clearly, I mean, they mentioned it's in beta, but this hasn't changed since I got the car. I've had the same issues all the time, and so for me, hopefully they will be addressed soon. If not, I hope Tesla can watch this video and figure out what's going on. It could be map issues, meaning that the maps are not correctly done, but that means also that the maps, we're highly dependent on the quality of the maps, so that could be also a problem. So one thing that has changed in V10 is that when you do highway exits, before V10 it would just do these smooth exits, and it wouldn't really jerk the steering wheel that much. But starting with V10, it does these really quick turns to the right, and so strong that it then has to compensate back to the left. So you'll see what I mean when we get out of the highway. And normally you should see the car slowly move towards the right in the lane. And I think it's going to start doing it soon, meaning that it's preparing to, yeah, I can feel it now, it's going to the right of the lane, so it's hugging the line much more, and it will put the blinker on and exit just as soon as we get up to the line. So it should do it now. Yeah, here we go, blinker on, and now you see, now it's a little bit overcompensating. And now this part I have to take over because it always picks the left lane instead of the right one, which is weird because it knows where we're going. And that's it for Navigate on Autopilot, basically. Now I'm going to have to drive off it because I'm off the highway and it doesn't work anywhere else or elsewhere. Okay, so this concludes our test and review of Navigate on Autopilot. As you can see, it does have some bugs that make it pretty much weird to use and not to say unusable at times. Hopefully they will be corrected soon, and but it's a shame because it does have a lot of promise. Now it is part of those features you pay a lot of money for, so you would wish they would work a lot better. Anyway, that's it for this video. If you liked it, make sure to put a thumbs up on it and subscribe and hit the notification bell if you want to be notified when I release a new video. And yeah, I just wanted to say that I'm getting more and more comments, and I really like interacting with you guys and answering your questions or even getting suggestions for new videos, so please don't hesitate. And of course, if you like Teslas and you're interested in purchasing one, a few people have already told me they're interested in it. Make sure to use a referral code. If you don't have one, I'll put mine in the description below. We're using a referral code, you'll get free stuff like 1,500 kilometers of free supercharger electricity, which is always nice when you're going on a road trip and you don't have to pay for your trip. So that's it for this video, and see you in the next one. Bye bye!